Marketplace with Charles on an 11-day tour of the Holy Land. Take the route Israel traveled to the Promised Land. Cross over the Red Sea and float on the Dead Seas, the lowest point on earth with amazing healing properties. Experience the vibe of Jericho and cruise on the Sea of Galilee to Capernaum, the hometown of Jesus. Visit the pools of Bethesda, Nazareth, Bethlehem, and many more. Walk where Jesus walked and see the Bible come alive. If beautiful memories and an enriched spirit is what you are looking for, then join us in taking Jesus to the marketplace. For more information, call us on +27 72 123 0078 or email israel@artofskincare.co.za.
Welcome to Marketplace with Charles, where dreams are turned into reality. Marketplace is brought to you by Art of Skincare, the company that brings out the beauty in you, as well as Guwisa Lodge from deep in the heart of Mabalingwe Nature Reserve. I am Ketiwe Pagati, standing in for Charles Ngubeni. Now, on the Marketplace, what we do is empower and equip you with tools needed for your dreams in entrepreneurial activities to become true. Each week, we do bring you insights from experts in different fields of business, from men and women of faith. On today's program, we speak to the founder of Noosi Morai Motivations, aimed at empowering young people to make the best out of what they are. Economists have predicted that COVID-19 pandemic will render at least 1 in 4 South Africans jobless. That means that livelihoods of people will be affected, hugely so. It also means that a university certificate or a degree is no longer that sufficient. Education has a way of moving people to become employable or create that employment. Young people are therefore at an advantage to make this new normal work for them, if they pay attention. My guest today will address some of the issues that you need to be paying attention to so that you know what action to take in this new normal that we have come to be accustomed to, or being taught to be accustomed to. Do help me welcome Mr. Noosi Morai to your home or hotel room or wherever you may be joining us from today. Mr. Noosi Morai, hello, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Ketiwe, and greetings to our audience at large.
A total pleasure. So let's just jump right into it.
Correct.
What business do you do and what exactly is it about?
Well, Noosi Morai Motivations, it offers the basic life motivation. It's a pillar. We've got 3 pillars within the company. It's basic life motivation, it's financial literacy education, and we've got the entrepreneurship coaching. So just to explain a few, with basic life motivation, this is where we focus on the relationships. People are going through a lot in terms of the divorce rate in South Africa and the world at large, So looking at the gender-based violence, the relationship on its own, there's different types of relationships. We cancel those people who are coming from divorce, those people who are struggling in relationship, because I understand we have contract relationships and other people, they are into cocoon relationships. A contractual relationship, just to be simple, it's a relationship whereby you are called upon emergency. For example, the theory of sugar mom, sugar dad, Ben-10, sugar mama, sugar, and so forth. So now they call those young boys to come when the husband has left, maybe for job purposes. So they are called upon emergency. That is called contractual relationship. So we are trying to bridge the gap between the two. Understand? And then cocoon relationship, people, they find themselves married for wrong reasons. Some they find themselves married for good reasons. So we psychoanalyze those situationships to say we do understand that emotional stress that you're going through. So we as Noosi Morai Motivation, we are there to fix people's lives through motivations. So now coming to the financial literacy education, yes. This is the point whereby we talk about money. Machankura.
Yes.
So now, financial literacy education, I sit down, I say, it's possible that you can sleep and make the money work for you while you are sleeping. Oh, how do you do that? A lot of people are successful at trading currencies, forex markets. What they do, they put a trade and then they sleep. In the morning, what they do, they take a stop loss and then they get the profit. It's done, So we are trying to teach people that you can make loans to work for you. You can take a loan from the bank and then utilize that loan to start a business, maybe property, and having an accommodation business. I call it's a legacy business because it's going to benefit feed the third, fourth generation of you. So now coming to the, I was at financial literacy education. Yes, people, they need to know that, it's not about spending. People don't know when is the right time to spend and when is the right time to save. So they try to override the system. I call it impulsive buying decisions, whereby you are buying chocolate at Pick and Pay till point. For what reason? Was the chocolate on your grocery list? No, it was not. So that's an impulsive decision making that we do. So we try to teach people about the ways of making money and the ways of spending and saving. When is the right time to save and when is the right time to spend? And then coming to entrepreneurship, we as a company, we have generated a lot of entrepreneurs. People are successful because of Noosi Morai motivation. We give them, I'm talking about small, medium enterprises, the upcoming business people, So we've generated what you call, we sort of bridge and profile their work, and then we try to build the business proposal for them. We give them business ideas, because I, for one, as Noosi Morai, I do have plenty of business ideas, but then they are not in line with my vision. My purpose is to change people's lives through motivation. So I identify a gap and say, this is business, go for it. I remember there was a time whereby one of my audience came to me and said, Noosi, my graveyard, my tombstone for my mom is cracked. It's bad. So now I'm feeling very emotional about that thing. What can I do now? I told her to say, you know what? You can't fight over the suppliers. You can't fight over those people who did that tombstone. Yeah. Try to make a means out of that pain, because sometimes God has to come to you in a certain way whereby you need to feel a pain in order to identify what you are capable of, So I told her to say, start maybe something like Maria's graveyard maintenance site. Mm-hmm. Now she called me after 3 months to say, the business is doing well. People are calling me. I'm bridging the gap of tombstones, when you go to graveyard, you've got, it's like a floor on its own, People don't know the number of their deceased and stuff. So now just bridge that gap and then make it happen. So we try to coach people to venture into entrepreneurship, because I always believe to say it doesn't take a degree to become a billionaire, but it takes degree to work for a billionaire.
That's a good one. That's a very good one. Yeah. So you've mentioned, I think, 4 areas that your business covers. So that's a lot of different areas. We can see how they can interlink, but I want to understand, what's your background in education? Talk us through it, because that led you where you are.
Correct. Well, first of all, Kate, allow me to say I come from Soweto. I come from Soweto. I think you must understand when I say this. So me coming from Soweto, I grew up whereby I attended school at Soweto, which is Khotso Primary School. Then after going to Khotso Primary School, I went to Piri HP. It's a higher primary school, same in Soweto. Then from Piri Primary, I went to Almond Technical High School, where I completed my matric in, I think, 2010. Then 2012-13, that's when I enrolled for UNISA, So it was quite difficult times, I remember one was about, I think I was 13 years of age at Piri Primary School when I started selling cigarettes and guava juice, to soccer stadiums. I think there's a question that I remember now. My grandmother once asked me to say, Noosi, I understand that you are the only child, and then up again, you don't have parents, you don't have sisters and brothers or anyone who's a guardian. You don't have anyone. It's only me. What if God decide to take me next week? What if he decide to send the angel of death next week? How are you going to grow up? So you need to start moving things for your own. That's when she gave me money to go and buy cigarettes and sell at soccer stadiums at the age of 13. Yeah. She gave me money. I bought sweets, in Kasi, so where you are like, I cigarette, I Kotli cigarette, and then people, they call you, and then when they call you, you sell. They call you, you sell. So there's the very same year in 2004, it happened that I was working for a certain company called Millennium Merchandising. I was working at night, but I was 13 years. People find it difficult to understand, because at this stage, they see the 20th Noosi. They don't know the 0.1 Noosi, Yes. So for me, I had to move out of the comfort zone from childhood development. That's when I started working at night, picking stock at Pick and Pay, not Pick and Pay Direct. I was working for Millennium Merchandising. We'd pack stock at Pick and Pay, and then we'd come in the morning, and then I prepare my school uniform, I go to school. During lunch, I find an empty class, I sleep, while other learners are playing, I having fun time. Then I sleep, because I know the same day I need to go and pack stock to make a living, So that was then, and it was quite difficult times, but then for me, it was not an abuse. for me, it was a blessing in disguise. God said, you know what, let me prepare you now so that in future you'll be excellent. That's why we are talking about Noosi Morai motivations today. It's because of what you went through, you know. That's why I always say, it's not about the size, it's not about how big you are. There's a reason why an elephant is so huge as compared to the lion. But the truth is that the lion become the king of the forest. Why? It's about the hunger mode. It's very hungry as compared to...
It's not about the size.
It's not about the age, it's not about the size. Just get there and do the most and then make things happen.
So in essence, life outside of school was also part of your education, a big part of your education, because
Absolutely.
I mean, in between lessons, you had to decide when to sleep, go work, so that you can fend for yourself. So my question is, how do you strike the balance between the two? For someone who's listening, between education and entrepreneurship, where's the balance there?
Well, Ketwe, allow me to put it this way. I feel very passionate about this question. Though it may have a positive impact, one's level of education does not have to dictate an entrepreneurial altitude. Okay. That is, an entrepreneur does not have to allow himself to be confined by his educational achievement, so that it creates what you call a ceiling over his a potential. Yeah. So I looked upon people such as Robert Kiyosaki. I looked upon people such as Sir Richard Branson, the founder of Vision Active, Vision Airlines and all. So now I had to realize that Richard Branson made a name for himself without having a university degree. He dropped out when he was 16 years of age. Look at Robert Kiyosaki, he's teaching us financial literacy. He only has a Bachelor of Science degree, you know. So sometimes we need to balance the two to say, it doesn't mean when you are an entrepreneur, you are an entrepreneur because of a university degree. Some things they are just God-given, you know. So you need to take it before anyone can come and take that dream from your hand.
Okay, so my following question is based out of the words out of your mouth. With that regard, someone listening to you out there, I'm interested now to know, what's your overall perception or regard for education then, if you speak that way of entrepreneurship?
Well, in that case, let me put it this way. Education should not be seen as a measure of how high one can go, you know, but it must be used as a facilitator or a tool, you know, to achieve what one can potentially achieve. Yes. That is, let me put it this way, it must relate. It has to relate, it has to help someone to engage rather than setting parameters over one's success level. So that's how I can put education in that case. We must utilize it to relate and engage rather than setting parameters over one's success.
You look like you already know what's coming. It's a lot. It's a lot. I want to dig at that education thought you've just tackled now. But we're going to go to a break quickly. Yeah. So don't go anywhere. I'm still here with my guest after the short break, Mr. Noosi Morai.
Join Marketplace with Charles on an 11-day tour of the Holy Land. Take the route Israel traveled to the Promised Land. Cross over the Red Sea and float on the Dead Seas, the lowest point on earth with amazing healing properties. Experience the vibe of Jericho and cruise on the Sea of Galilee to Capernaum, the hometown of Jesus. Visit the pools of Bethesda, Nazareth, Bethlehem, and many more. Walk where Jesus walked and see the Bible come alive. If beautiful memories and an enriched spirit is what you are looking for, then join us in taking Jesus to the marketplace. For more information, call us on +27 72 123 0078 or email israel@artofskincare.co.za.
And you made it back. Welcome again to the Marketplace with Charles Ngubeni, today being Ketiwe Pagati. Mr. Noosi.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
My next question, are you ready?
Absolutely.
Before we continue with the education part you were on, I want to take you back to an earlier mention. You mentioned the increase of divorce rates with the lockdown. 100%. What are you on about? Explain that. Are you actually saying the numbers increased? What are you saying?
Look, according to stats in South Africa, there's high volume of divorce rate. So no one was taking an action. I had to say, let me take it upon myself, you know. So me being a motivational speaker is not a way of saying I just talk like anyone. You know, people don't understand the motivational. It's a calling, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's a calling. God, when he decides to take you to talk to people and change people's life through motivation, then he does that. like he did with Jeremiah when he told him that I knew you before I created you in your mother's womb, you know. So the divorce rate, they are going through a lot of depression. I've lost everything. I've lost the cars. I've lost the job. I have lost my provident fund. And then now they are, at the end of the day, some of them, they are bitter, those people. I don't know, there's a movie that I like by Tyler Perry, Acrimony. It talks to the human development path. So we apply what is called the FLC model within the House of Noosi Morai Motivation under the pillar of basic life motivation to say, let us psychoanalyze those candidates and help them to go through the process of counseling and then to make them believe that it's still doable again. Life doesn't end, you know, but they can still do it. As long as you've got the eyes, you can see, the mind, which is the engine, then you've got everything according to me. So we cancel them from what they went through, and then we give them on-site support within the House of Noosi Morai Motivation. And I always say, Noosi Morai Motivations is not an individual company, it's not the key individual company. There's a group of Noosi Morai Motivations. There's people behind the scene who deals with psychology. We've got people who deals with marketing research. So we don't just motivate, but we conduct what is called the projective research technique. Then we psychoanalyze you based on what you went through.
You find where the need is. Correct.
Those are the tragedies of life. We find the need and then we close the gap immediately.
Okay, great. That's understood. Now, before the break, we spoke a lot about entrepreneurship, education
Correct.
versus entrepreneurship.
Correct.
Would Noosi Morai encourage young people to pursue education?
100%. 100%. They have to pursue education at all costs. But the youth must be able to think beyond the textbook category. Let me put it this way. A degree can decorate one's profile and make it acceptable. But that does not necessarily unleash an entrepreneur in a person. Because, I mean, a lot of educated people today, they find themselves stuck in the service of independent thinkers, you know. So they must pursue education, but they must think beyond the textbook, that it doesn't take a degree to become a billionaire. But it takes a degree to work for a billionaire. I've seen that.
Oof, to some people, that's going to land as a huge stab. As a huge stab. Yeah. But I do understand. And you are actually on record
Correct.
as having helped scholars in the education system to improve in their performance. What tools did you use to engage them to reach those results?
Absolutely. Remember, I worked as a financial advisor within the House of Liberty when I left Pick and Pay. I joined Old Mutual. I was conducting what we call the presentation. So what happened, I went to a sitting school to write a teacher a policy. I was at Liberty by then. And then when I can't mention the school and the name, so the teacher told me to say, no, see, I'm marking the learners. At this stage, the children, they are not performing well. You know, I don't understand what is going on. I had to psychoanalyze and take myself in that teacher's shoes to say, she's feeling very bad and she can't do anything about it. It's called, it's a catch-22 statement. You know, a catch-22 statement is a statement whereby this thing is beyond your control. You can't do anything about it. So I had to take the leadership to say, let me motivate these children. Let me change their lives through emotional and psychological stress that comes with being a student. I know how it feels to go to school without food, you know. I know how to go to school relying on the feeding scheme. At about 5 to 11, I say, ma'am, can I go to a toilet, but I know I want to be the first person for feeding scheme, you know. Then I eat first, then I come back again to the line, I reserve food for the night on the same day, you know. So I had to motivate those learners. Their background are very poor. They come from disadvantaged family background. No one is taking action. So now I had to take that action and motivate them about we had to deal with the emotional background first of all, the psychological background first of all, and what we call the spiritual way, because we have to include God in everything that we do. You know, that's when I said sometimes when I speak to them, I said, look, it's not me who's speaking to you, but it's God who's talking to you through me, you know, yes. So we have changed a lot of learners' lives through motivations. They've passed with distinctions within the House of Noosi Morai Motivations. They changed their level of behavior in terms of the psychology. They are now focusing on their pass. They just focusing to pass. Otherwise, we give them that psychological background through motivations. I mean, I remember I did my school at Randfontein, the first school that I did, Lucanio Secondary School. I motivated them in 2018, and then the school passed to 84%. 2019, they were sitting at 87%. Then I went to Loli, one of the informal settlement, and then I took that school. It's called Tutolefa Secondary School, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. I took them from 74 to 84%. That was in 2018. And then I went to Daleview School, is at Ennerdale. I took that school from 61 to 78%. I'm not saying I'm the master of them all, but I want to take the credit and give it to the teachers. They are doing their best, and then I just polish on what they have done, you know. Yeah, so that was about Noosi Morai Motivations. We did those projects for free because we understood. I went through that life. I understand. Then I had to put myself into those children's shoes to say, it's possible, Black Child. You can make things happen. It's not about the family background. It's not about where you're coming from. You can turn that poverty into wealth. Yes. It's in you. You are the one who were born to break that poverty chain.
Sure. Yes. And the passion, it bubbles out of you. You don't even have to wonder what's happening, think where this, yes. I can just hear the purpose bubbling out of you. Now, with people doing such great work, it's purpose work. I'm sure that you always need help in one form or another. There are individuals out there as well as corporate that have been moved as much as I have. They're wondering how to assist you. So what type of assistance do you need, and what can they do to assist you?
Absolutely. Well, let me put it this way. We as a company, we are still in the process of having Noosi Morai Foundation, NPO. So now I think the potential sponsors, because based on the projects of motivations, we are looking for potential sponsors. We are looking for someone with the same dream, someone with the same vision to say, let me sponsor Noosi Morai Motivations, let me sponsor Noosi Morai Foundation, especially on the public school session, to help our learners to see the world in a different perspective. So we are looking for potential sponsors. A sponsor, it can be someone who can come with maybe a sound engineering, or someone who can come with something like PA systems. When I talk, I know I've got microphones, the PA system, you know. It can be someone who can say, no, what knows, let me sponsor you with maybe transport for your employees to go. Let me sponsor, for example, with this money, and then you can just put it to reserve for children. So we are looking for anyone who is willing to assist the learners within the house of Noosi Morai Motivations, because we change people's lives through motivations. So we had to start at the public schools, and then we had to develop our path from there, you know. So it can be anyone, from government organization, from private sector, it can from an individual, you know. I know there's some great Samaritans who's listening out there who say, but this guy, he's making sense, you know. There's someone who said, this guy, he's really changing people's lives through motivation. I've seen his videos at YouTube. I've seen his work. Why don't I invest in him to change the future of South Africa? Not just South Africa, but the world at large, because we need to prepare them now to be able to handle the tomorrow. We need to start preparing them now. You see, so we are looking for those people to work us in the form of partnership, and then help us kickstart the program, because I mean it's doing the most. It's doing the most. People, it's very painful for me, Chetiwe, to say I have to charge a parent maybe 50 rand or 30 rand for a motivation per head. I mean, I have seen from the financial point of view, our parents, they rather take 50 rand and buy, for example, 2 beers instead of investing their child's education. So me focusing on the public sector, it's a huge gap. But then I said, I can't charge those learners. It's public school. Then let us have something like a sponsor, a potential sponsor. Like maybe, for example, Vodacom has been running these foundations. All Mutual have been running this foundation. Let us have something like that. Discovery Liberty, any big company that can come on board, or a bank anyway, to come on board and help us and grow this thing. Because I believe there's so many learners out there that their lives can be changed through motivation. So we are where we are because of those initiatives that we did for past years.
You've already said a mouthful, and I want another mouthful from you. And I know that won't be a problem. So in terms of youth empowerment, when you are sleeping, or awake on that stage or behind that desk. You have a dream when it comes to youth empowerment, a project that you envision you'd like to see implemented. What's this project and what would you like your involvement to be?
Look, I feel very passionate about this question. You know, sometimes I sleep. Motivation to me is like a palm in my hands. You know, so I'm looking at our unemployment rate in South Africa, for example. It's very bad. I remember the COGTA minister, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, she said it can move from 29% to 50% more, which can be about 79% unemployment rate in South Africa because of COVID-19 pandemic. You know, so I'm looking forward to conduct something like solutions to unemployment projects, whereby I will be mentoring people about venturing into businesses. When is the right time to start a business? Because where I come from, remember I said I come from Soweto, you know, so there are people who don't even know where to start to register a company. There are people who think you need a degree to register a company. Trust me. So we need to mentor those people into entrepreneurship, and then we are looking forward for such sponsors to jump on board and help us kickstart the session of Noosi Morai motivation solutions to unemployment theme. So we are looking for government to jump on board. We are looking for private company or any individual to jump on board. They can always go there in a way of maybe expanding their brand as well, because I call it a brand endorsement strategy in marketing, you know. So they can always sponsor those sessions and help us kickstart the program and change South Africa, change Africa at large, change the global world at large through motivations. You know what I mean? So we are conducting those after this pandemic. We are running those sessions called Solutions to Unemployment within the House of Noosi Morai Motivations.
I hear you. I follow. So, Mr. Morai, we've come to that part of the show that neither one of us like. The end. But before we go, there are people out there who would like to get a hold of you to find out what services how they can get the services from you and what other services you have on offer. So just give them your contact details and where they can reach you.
Okay. Well, if you want anything about financial literacy education, I'm the best person to talk to. If you need anything about personal life or basic life motivation, I am the person to talk to. You are not a wrong planet or something. If you need any coaching about entrepreneurship, we'll take you step by step within the House of Noosi Morai Motivation. So I can be found on +2781 011 6159 or noosi.morai@gmail.com. That is noosi.morai@gmail.com. Or people can always keep in touch at Twitter @Noosi Morai Motivation. Then we'll definitely work together in that regard.
Mr. Morai, thank you one more time.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
There you have it. That was my guest, Mr. Noosi Morai. Let us meet again next week, same time, same place for another action-packed episode. And don't you forget to check out the repeat of this episode every Wednesday, bright and early in the morning at 1 a.m. And you can also follow a repeat at any time you'd like by subscribing to our YouTube channel, Marketplace with Charles Ngubeni. And I assure you, you will not regret it. Thank you for watching Marketplace with Charles, who today was Ketiwe Phakathi, brought to you by Art of Skincare. Do remember, you can get in touch with us via charlesngubeni.com as well as Instagram Charles_Ngubeni. We are also available on Facebook, that is Charles Ngubeni. And to get a hold of Ketiwe Phakathi, that will be Facebook, Maketi Speaks Live. Until next time, God bless you and goodbye.